Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Advisory. We're going to continue our study skills lesson. So this is part 4. And in this last lesson, we talked about creating our own scouting report. We talked about what that looks like in sports, but then also what that looks like in school. So these 2 questions here allow you to predict and solve problems in advance. So take a closer look at these last 2 questions in the scouting report, okay? What challenges could prevent me from obtaining the grade I want? And how will I overcome these challenges? Again, so it's important to recognize what the challenges could be before we even know, but sometimes there are patterns in our life, so we can just determine what might come up in this situation. And then how will I recover these challenges? These are things you want to think about anytime you create a scouting report. And a scouting report could be made when we're preparing for anything, okay? Not just school, not just sports, but for anything, okay? So here's a scouting report from a current high school student. So notice how they create a solution for a problem that he might have in the future. Again, we never really know what's going to happen, but sometimes we can predict based on what's happened in the past or what we've seen happen to other people in a similar situation. Okay. So each of your classes have different paths to success and different potential traps, right? Just we talked about traps with that video game, right? So by gathering the facts and anticipating the challenges of each class, you can best prepare yourself for success, right? So creating a scouting report for each class at the beginning of every semester is the best practice, okay? Because again, every teacher is going to be different. Every subject is going to be taught in a different way. So that's something that I would encourage you to do before each class. And so these are just some examples that this person had written. Okay, so what does he need for the class? Gmail and Google Docs, that's how he maybe gets his information about any kind of updates from his teachers. Physical supplies, like a 3-ring binder and a notebook. So last semester he had a C, so he wants to get a B this time. And then this is how his grade will be broken down based on percentage. Are there opportunities for extra credit? Yes, no. What challenges may prevent me? So his challenge was getting a low homework grade because he forgot to turn his homework. So this is a challenge that he predict might happen, maybe because he's had that habit of not turning in his homework. Okay, so how will he overcome the challenge? He will check that his homework is in his bag at the end of the night before he goes to bed. That's a great practice and a habit to get into. So he has a solution to his problem. Okay, so making a plan is huge, right? So when you don't know what is going to happen in the future, it's important to plan ahead. So you look at the patterns in your life. So again, we might fall into these patterns. That's how he knew he would potentially not turn in his homework because maybe that was a pattern that he had, okay? So how do you best prepare for these things or for anything really? So you want to make a plan. So while you don't always know what's going to happen in the future, you can always plan ahead. So by doing that, you look at the patterns in your life and see what you've struggled with in the past. That's how we learn, right? We learn from our mistakes. So you want to assess the optimal outcomes and make a plan for how you can achieve them. So if you work somewhere and you can anticipate the types of challenges that you might face, then you can plan ahead. Okay, so this is the same for students in school. So when we did that quiz earlier, we determined what our biggest challenges were. So like if a challenge is, for example, is your time management, then you can learn and plan for calendar management, for example. You can learn how to develop your own calendar that will work for you. So know that you're not alone. So every person in this world has their low points, okay? So some may handle it or even hide it better than others. But the truth is, whatever you're going through, there are always others who have been through it too, okay? So you're not alone. Ask for help. There's no need to feel ashamed for asking for help. It's not easy to do, whether you choose to rely on someone close to you at home, or a stranger, or a mentor, or a counselor, or a teacher. There are people in all of our lives who want to help you succeed, okay? So feel your feelings. By masking your feelings, they're not going to go away. Rather, what we're doing is we're pushing them down, and it becomes like this trapped energy that can actually impact us in our health in a very negative way when these feelings are ignored. So take some time to feel what you feel. I tell students all the time, sit with these feelings Because if we're just pushing them down, they're going to come out in one way or the other. And that's typically in like maybe you just have a breakdown and you start crying really heavily, or a lot of times it comes out in anger, because those are two very extreme emotions that we feel when we're not really taking care of ourselves and we're not working through these things. So this can come in the form of like meditation or breathing exercises just to regulate those emotions. So if you'd rather write down how you feel instead of talking to somebody, that can also be very therapeutic. So when you feel and share your emotions, it helps you to sort of see your situation in a different light. And this exercise can lead you to come up with new solutions that maybe you haven't come across before. Okay, accept support. We talked about asking for help, but the second part is to accepting that help. So you have to be open and willing to accept it, right? So people who come to you to your aid truly do care about you. So be open to receiving it when they're offering it, okay? Help others. So what you give is what you get, right? That's what they say. If you've been through a situation or have advice for someone you know who's going through a tough time, be sure to help out. So it not only benefits those people that need the support, but it also can help you feel happier and more confident yourself. So think big. It can be easy to let yourself think small because of the fear of failure that sets in. But to accomplish great things in life, you have to be open to taking these risks, okay? Positive mindset. What you think becomes your reality. So when you train your mind to think positively, this will take both time and practice, okay? Because we tend to be the hardest on ourselves, okay? So it begins with mental awareness. You need to recognize when you're talking to yourself in a negative way. And you can practice awareness through mindfulness techniques and meditation. If you want more resources or support on how to do that, please reach out to me. Giving up means that you will neither overcome the challenge nor learn from it, okay? So even if we do something and it doesn't work out well for us, at least we can learn. Power through challenges by asking for support, feeling your feelings, and making a plan to work through it. So work smart, not hard. The last one, generally, there's more than one way to get something done. So to work smarter rather than harder, start by working backwards. This is a good habit. Okay, outline and define your goal, and then you plan the process for getting there. So you first choose your goal, and then you go backwards. How am I going to get there? Okay, so now I would love for you to reflect. How do you overcome your challenges? So what do you typically do? What works for you? This is what I want you to spend some time thinking about. Either discuss it with the person next to you. Maybe your teacher would like to share their own experience. Maybe they could share how they overcome their challenges and what things that they've struggled with in the past. So how do you overcome your challenges? Any challenge. Write it down or discuss as a class, and I'll see you next time, guys. Have a good day.